Welcome back, everyone. Hope you had a moment to reset yourself. Just want to say that I'm really grateful to be here with all of you and to have this space and to be able to do this within all the things going on in the world. It's a real privilege and it's a gift. And thank you for receiving all of these things in the spirit that they're meant to be delivered. Today we're going to talk a little bit about one of the most difficult practices for anyone that's on a spiritual path, and that's forgiveness. We're going to talk a little bit about forgiveness, and then we're going to have a meditation on forgiveness. Forgiveness is something that is not passive, and I think a lot of times when we associate it with forgiveness with different spiritual traditions, we think of it as, someone that's very zen and, almost floating. Just those kinds of people that don't have as much fire, and they're just like everything rolls off their back, and we kind of associate it with that. But really, forgiveness is an act of will. It's not passive. It's something that will touch each of our lives because of the darkness in this world, and not just dark people or dark forces, but the darkness that is within all of us, within absolutely each and every one of us, has an element of darkness that needs to come to the light in order to heal that darkness. And so it's easy to think darkness is out there in someone else, somewhere else, but it's in us too. And so however this world cooks it up so that we can heal the darkness inside of us, which isn't bad, it's just part of human condition, and it gives contrast to our light sides. It cooks up many different scenarios. The universe cooks up all these different scenarios so that we can heal those pieces for ourselves, those pieces of darkness. And sometimes we get those healings through love and like connection and someone holding us and treating us with unconditional compassion. But other times we get those lessons learned through something that feels a bit more jarring than that. And then that's where the F word comes in. And we have to work with the F word if we so choose to. And of course, one of the things with forgiveness that people think right off the bat is that they have to bring that person or persons back into their lives. Forgiveness has zero to do with reuniting. It has zero to do with that. Although in some cases, it will lead to that most blissfully and wonderfully, right? That's a wonderful outcome. But forgiveness happens for us as an act of self-love. So it's something very personal and very private, which may involve being back with the person that we can't forgive. It may involve having some connection with that person with strong boundaries, or with new boundaries. Maybe they're not even strong, but they're just newer and different than they were before. And actually, when you set a boundary with someone else, that can be so hard because they will personalize it. I guarantee you they'll personalize it. But when you set a boundary with someone else because there's been an event that hurt you, their guides and their angels and whoever's guiding them, those benevolent forces, literally have a party. Like, they are so jazzed, they are so excited that we were able to say no more of this, because then that allows that person that was stuck in maybe a behavior pattern to stop that behavior pattern. It gives them the physical stop sign to perhaps help them to maybe shift into a new reality. And they might not stop doing what they're doing, they might carry on, but at least it gives them catalyst to potentially stop doing what they were doing. And then for us, it's also catalyst for us to do something different. If we have people that are, crushing our boundaries or being nasty to us or super negative with us all the time, and we don't say anything, we need the catalyst too. We need something bigger and worser. Love that word, worser. Something worser to happen so that we say, I can't do this anymore. Maybe because it's even life and death. Maybe because it's peace or distress, basically we have to choose between our sanity, and setting that boundary creates that sanity in some cases. But for other relationships, there is not just a boundary, it's no contact, but we can still have a pure experience of forgiveness of another person, even though we don't see them anymore, we don't talk to them anymore. We can still forgive, and that's our job, and it's our work to do. So I want to show you this wheel of forgiveness. This is how I think of this, as a spiral. And I love this topic because I think all of us have been challenged at some time with forgiving others. So let's think of outside. Can you guys see this when I put my, can you see that when I put my, how am I going to know? When I put my little cursor, can you see, you can see, I can see Carolyn's cursor, I think, but can you see mine?
No, because it's my screen that's being shared.
Okay.
Do you want me to point something?
No, I'll do it without that. Okay. So this is how I see forgiveness, as a cycle, as a wheel, as a spiral, because if you think of spiraling, it's not linear. It's not like we start at point A and we take a straight line to point B, which would be forgiveness in this situation. It's like a dance that happens. And so at the top you see in yellow the event. So here something happens, it may have been building, or it may have been just one event. Something happens that calls us to have to make a shift and to bring into being this energy of forgiveness even being necessary. So I think all of you can think of someone where you still hold anger toward them because of an event. So the event happens outside of this wheel of forgiveness, and then there's time and there's space and there's sorting that shifts how you feel about the event, right? Something that you were really angry about 10 years ago may or may not still cause you a charge. And what we sometimes do right after the event, before we go into contemplating forgiveness, is that we gather information. Some of it may be true or not true. We gather allies. Sometimes we triangulate. So we try to get someone on our side to go against the other person. So these are all things that typically happen with humans when we have an event when we're really betrayed, distraught, upset. So that's a phase, and none of this is linear, and every single person and situation that you have in terms of forgiveness will be unique to you in your life. So once we enter the wheel of forgiveness, though, we enter where that arrow is, and we say to ourselves, I think it might feel nicer to forgive and let this go. So it's a contemplation phase. And actually what we can even do at this phase when we're not ready to forgive somebody is we can say, I am willing to learn how to let this go. I am willing to learn how to set that person free from my anger. I am willing to learn how to forgive. But here's the thing, is that it's okay if we stay at that contemplation stage for the rest of our lives. It doesn't make us less spiritual. It doesn't make us less of a great person. It's not, the universe isn't going to favor us in some crazy different way just because we have not been able to manifest it yet. We're just thinking about that forgiveness, that we can stay there for quite a long time. Well, this is the thing about it. And Carolyn Myss talks about this too, is that what some people hold on to, and this is when you get deeper into the wheel, is this idea of thoughts of vengeance toward the person. This is what we don't always hear talked about in terms of forgiveness, is that we kind of say to ourselves like, God will take care of this. Karma will get them. And this is a dark secret that humanity has and rarely spoken about. But as we think we've forgiven, we've forgotten the incident, we say to ourselves, oh, that person's going to get theirs. And we secretly even hope that they will be punished for the wrongdoing toward us. We secretly even hope that. That is a sign that we have not forgiven someone. If we still hold on to that, they're going to get theirs. It's almost like we think God likes us better than them. God, spirit, universe, whatever you want to call it. We think that God favors us, which is actually not true, because all of us are on this journey of lifetime to lifetime. You've heard this probably before, that if you think of a beautiful giant oak tree and you look at one little leaf, that's this lifetime. If you want to sort out your stress and anger with someone else in any of those other lifetimes, you've got eons of time to do that. It might not happen in this lifetime, and that's okay. That doesn't make you less spiritual, it doesn't make you less peaceful, and it doesn't certainly make you less loved by the universe. That person is loved equally as you, even if they've done something bad. Even if they've done something really bad, they're loved as much as you are in this universe. This is an interesting thing to get our heads around. So that's acknowledging thoughts of vengeance. But as we go through this wheel, we have moments where we feel competitive with the person, perhaps. Some of you may be parenting with somebody that you're not in a relationship with anymore. So forgiveness doesn't look as clean in those situations, because you're living and breathing. You're basically in a business relationship in many ways, more than that, but you have to sort out the business of schedules and all these things constantly with this person. So forgiveness is probably going to be very spirally and continue to spiral and continue to spiral. You may have thoughts of punishing them. And as we go through the wheel towards completion, we get different perspectives. Maybe new information comes out that we didn't realize. Maybe a counselor or a teacher or someone gives a perspective that we literally had never thought of before, but what that person might be going through to create the harm that they created for us. But then ultimately, we also at some stage say, I'm responsible for, not when someone does something horrific to you, you should never feel responsible for it. It's not that you chose that, literally chose that, but we feel responsible for our reaction to it, and are responsible for, am I going to go into vengeance and like trying to get retribution, or am I going to go towards something different? Even if I can't get there yet, am I going to go towards something brighter and more beautiful than this? Moments of peace and acceptance come throughout the wheel, not necessarily at the beginning if it's a big betrayal, but they come throughout the process of forgiveness. And this is amazing, because if you go through a situation where you have to forgive something, you're going to have moments where you feel forgiving and you feel like, okay, I've got this, and they're okay, and I'm okay, and everything is okay. And then it might resurface, and that's absolutely not normal. But as we go toward the center of the spiral, there's a karmic completion that happens once we've acknowledged our thoughts of them getting punished by karma, or punished by whatever, their lives. And we let go of that secret hope that they do suffer the way that we've suffered. We let go of that. Then we begin to feel deeper and deeper peace, and that karmic completion is over. We don't have to do more work. Not that we don't have to do more work, because then there will be probably someone else to forgive that comes along. But this is the work of forgiveness. It's more complicated than we think. And it basically asks us to take all of the ways that we may be in a power play around our wounds, our sadness, our hurt, our vulnerability. We may use those as a power tool, or even our rage. Maybe our rage, we're sort of like hold it like armor, like, I was wrong, I was poorly done by, and we hold that in sort of like a vice grip so close to our soul that prevents us from getting to that completion. But we do it for ourselves. So no one should ever rush forgiveness, and no one should ever feel like they aren't good enough if they're not somewhere closer to the middle of the spiral. Because, there will be probably situations for me in my life, and I don't know about yours, where I probably will still have some thoughts of, oh, this is going to go badly for them. They can't treat people this way, and some kind of satisfaction from that. But I will continue to work on that until I'm dead. As long as I can, I'll try to work on those ones that were really big and really traumatic for me. And you might find yourself in there somewhere too. So what we're going to do now is we're going to think of someone where you still have some anger toward this person. We can take the visual off now, Carolyn. Thank you. Think of someone that you still have some anger toward that you would like to free. And don't worry if you don't get very far with this today. It doesn't matter. Get comfortable in your position. We're just going to do this for a couple of minutes. So this could be someone from your present, or it could be someone from your past. Make any adjustments or readjustments that help your body feel supported and safe and grounded. And we're going to begin now. And as you bring this person to mind and to heart, notice where you feel the anger or the distress or the hurt in your body. And then breathe deeply into that place in your body. And acknowledge that that situation has been taking up residence somewhere, even if in passing, somewhere in your physical being. And take another breath into any pain or anger or frustration you feel with this person. Knowing that you don't have to make anything happen today. It's all perfect. Whatever you feel is exactly right for this moment. And then using a piece of Tonglen, breathe in your own suffering that you've had from this situation. Breathe it into the top. Convert it to the antidote and feel peace going back to that spot in your body. And do that 2 more times. So breathe in nice and deeply, feeling that pain and hurt and betrayal or whatever it is, discomfort, and then converting it into something lighter and exhaling a peacefulness right back to yourself. And do that again. Now, the next time you breathe in, let the person know that you are setting them free. And if you can't yet, let them know that you are making every attempt to set them free as a prisoner from your anger. And as you exhale, feel them relaxing a little. And if that doesn't feel right, then feel yourself relaxing a lot. And do that 2 more times, breathing in, setting them free, letting them know. Exhaling, forgiveness, peace, your own self-love. One more time. And as you take a couple more breaths, you may want to think of that anger, resentment, or lack of forgiveness as a bird that you are freeing from a cage. Fly free. I release you. You are no longer my prisoner. Just know that to whatever degree this is possible is perfect. To whatever degree it feels doable is perfect. And now for a moment, feel any effects of this clearing in your body. Notice if anything feels more spacious or different than it did when you started. And then with your next breath, acknowledge your courage, even if it's just setting the intention to learn how to free this person. Even if it's just being willing to learn. You're perfect just the way you are. Coming out as you're ready. And this is a big one, so take your time, and I would recommend a little bit of shaking, maybe even some tapping. Maybe sticking your tongue out, getting that out of the face. So maybe stomping your feet a little bit, tapping the head. Nice work, everyone.